I am so excited to talk to you about this stuff. And because I'm so intrigued by I love scenes, just music scenes, comedy scenes, cultural scenes, and yeah, I am really intrigued to find out like what that was like going through that. And I mean y'all were pioneers of like a
I'm
movement,
not
right?
that
I mean, is
old.
that fair? Okay, all
I'm
right, all
not
right.
that
I
old.
mean,
Pioneers. Yeah. Uh, we were pioneers, but we've just been at it for a while. And the
all right.
Atlanta scene was, you know, I got my start in Atlanta with or Chattanooga, Tennessee, where I was raised, and then moved to Atlanta. But yeah, we were part of the straight rock mixed rock scene. And so, unlike a lot of drag queens, I didn't really come up in discos. I work in them now, but when, that's so my experience was a little bit different with like live music. And I'm trying to think of some of the bands. Well, of course, it was the B-52s were from Athens, which is a couple
Yeah.
hours away. RuPaul and I go danced for a band called the Now Explosion. The 10,000 Maniacs were from there. Pylon was. I have these are ancient references. I have no idea if rock and roll people even know who these bands are anymore. But yeah, it was. It was.
B-52s, I definitely know.
Yeah. Okay.
Well,
So
so when did you leave Chattanooga? Which, by the way, I don't know what it was like when you grew up there, but I wanted to run this by you. I think Chattanooga these days is maybe the most underrated city in the country. Like, do you ever go back there? Did you have a fondness for it or no?
it was a good place to grow up, and I
Okay.
did see my parents last Christmas there. Um, but I was eager to get away, and I wanted the bright lights in the big city, so I went to Atlanta and then here. But I think they are prized for their universal internet
Yeah. Yeah. They were one of the
in
first to do
Chattanooga.
municipal. Yeah. They're Gig City, USA. They were one of the first to do municipal broadband. And yeah, I mean, I lived in Nashville for a couple years and I was on the road. So, I'd go through Chattanooga a lot and it's just a really neat place. There's a lot. I mean, there are occasionally those reminders that you are still in red state America. Just little things like you have to show an ID twice whenever you go into a bar. But
Yeah.
it I don't know. It's just a really neat place that often goes under the radar. And yeah, I've always thought Chattanooga was just really cool.
It has cool things about it, but when you view it from the perspective of 15 years and there's nothing going on here. I'm young and I want, nightclubs and, exciting creatures of the night. It was like, how
Yeah.
soon can I get out of here? So, it was a nice place to grow up, but
Yeah.
my memories aren't so fond, and I haven't really kept in touch with many outside of my family who are there.
Sure. So when did you go to Atlanta? How old were you? Like what was that excursion?
About 22. So last year, just kidding. I moved there when I was about 2020 and moved to New York two years later because we thought, we had everything in Atlanta, and the scene, it was a magical scene in terms of drag back then. So all of the gays lived together in this area called Midtown, and there were never any drunken driving. I'm not saying that never, but everyone lived in that area. So it was just like, like a street scene, which is something that so many cities in this country lacks, a street scene.
Hmm.
And which is why
So,
I will be in New York forever, probably.
well, how did you and RuPaul meet? Like how did that
Mm.
collaboration happen?
through the Now Explosion, the band that we go danced with, and we were basically just like young, unestablished queens who. Well, Rue wasn't a queen, a drag queen, and we were very, very, very low rent, and were looked down upon by the more pageant-oriented, polished drag queens and trans performers. So but we carved out our little niche.
So, like, what would that niche be? Like, what exactly?
Well, Rue was known to wear mohawks with wading boots up to his thighs, G-strings, all kinds of. I mean, these were the times of new wave. So there was something, I mean, everything we got was from thrift stores practically. So it was not the RuPaul that you see today, who is very polished and very well lit. And, I was wearing wigs that I found in thrift store, which the kind of wigs you find in thrift stores are often things that cancer patients have thrown away when they've passed. So it was not, luckily we were young and we could pull off a few more looks than with the benefit of youth. You can make a gray short wig look chic if you're drunk enough, I guess. I don't know.
Well, so how, like...
You could think it's chic.
What kind of... I mean, you said that y'all weren't really in the discos or anything like that. So what was it? Was it just rock clubs, or was it... Like what were some of the types of venues in the day?
Well, we weren't booked at the big gay popular discos. We were booked at there was a rock club called 688. I'm a former Miss 688 or 688. I'm saying it wrong. It's been so long. And Weekends was kind of like a more gay, disco. But what used to happen in smaller towns and cities is that straight people, mingled with the gay community because they wanted to hear better music, better dance music. So we were known for our taste in music, and that kind of died along with Britney Spears. The era, which was like, so the gays used to have really great taste, and people were drawn to their underground experience. So it was always a bit mixed. And then when I came up to New York, I worked at a club that billed itself as drag queen owned and operated, which is the Pyramid Club, where bands from, this is another GWAR to Delight to RuPaul got his start, Anthony and the Johnsons, a lot of independent or alternative rock groups mixed in with drag queen theater. So as I became a bit more known, then I would get booked at the gay places. But we all of the big clubs from Palladium to Limelight, there were a lot of gay people there and people who dressed up, whether drag or androgynous or but they weren't specifically gay clubs. They might have a gay night,
Yeah. What was your experience with GWAR like?
I didn't really have any, but I just watched a fantastic documentary. So when the Now Explosion went to Richmond, Virginia, they told me that they met a kind of out of drag queen named Dirt Woman. And the reason that she was called Dirt Woman is that the police picked her up, and to get them back, she pooped in the back of their squad car. And so just hearing about that drove me crazy. And I just watched a documentary called Dirt Woman about this person's life. And she went on, she was a little crazy, but she went on to become an activist and doing stuff with charity, ran for office in Richmond, Virginia. So I don't know how I got on that topic, but I just saw it. Anyway.
Well, GWAR is from Richmond.
Oh, GWAR. She appeared with GWAR with like naked, except for hair all over her privates with crabs on them. And it was some kind of crab thing. Now, GWAR was musically, that was something that I couldn't get into because it was a little bit too hardcore for me. So, but yeah, I mean, everything from trans women singing jazz to, you know, whatever was there. Now, I heard you mention Gentle Giant, like some kind of feud. I haven't heard that name. So, you know, I mean, I couldn't know many of their songs, but I might know it if I heard it. But yeah, I was never
when I was in
my rock taste was more new wave, you know, so it was more things like the B-52s or, you know, stuff like
that. REM? I mean, I know that's not new wave, but like you were talking Athens, so.
It's a little too guitar heavy for me, but sure, REM was one of those, yeah.
Were you The Cure?
No.
No, you're not a Cure fan? Ah. Ouch.
No. I mean, you know, as I got older, you know, I mean, you know, I you know, disco was really where my heart was at. So I liked house music in the 90s. I like disco house. I like some of the new house, but you know, a lot of it. I've never gravitated that much to rock. I can appreciate good rock, but you know, it's not what I go to listen for. It's not what I spin when I DJ. So,
what do you spin? I wanted to ask you that. Because you know, I've never seen you spin. I hope to someday. But
well,
what kind of
nothing at all now. Nothing for 10 months. I mean, I mean, I was started to become a DJ when the clubs were I was working in big clubs and they were extremely druggy and the music was really hard techno. So they would always book me for an auxiliary room to provide something that was lighter or more underground or older, like disco, underground, rare funk kind of stuff. So I do DJ in New York at a regular weekly disco classic tea dance at the Monster, but everything is closed. And honey, like most performers or event planners or escorts or whatever, I'm sitting around, you know, thinking, okay, you shut down my place of work, government, and I don't mind, you know, I don't want to spread it and I don't want to get it, but you do need to pay me like the other countries because the performers are really hard hit. I mean, there is some online stuff, but you know, it's not the same as you know from doing comedy. It's just not the same.
It's not the same. I mean, in my opinion, it is better than nothing, but it's so not the same. Have you done any like Zoom stuff or anything like that? Have you done any of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I had like 3 downloadable comedy specials that, you know, one was at Christmas, one was June, and a couple were related to drag race. So yeah, I mean, you know, it's interesting. I mean, the first one I tried was everyone was saying that the delay was the star of the show between the other host, and so it was really like, as someone who doesn't know about tech stuff, the tech stuff really eats at me. So
yeah, I mean, you gotta I feel like you gotta just make the most of the format. Like one of the things that I love to do whenever I do any kind of Zoom show, especially like, you know, I did some colleges last semester because I don't get booked at many colleges anymore. And typically when I do, it's like an election year or something like that, where they want to bring in a political comic and sometimes I will get booked. So, you know, I got booked this fall some. And the one thing that I really like to do, because it's like, you know, college kids, let's be honest, a lot of times they're too cool to laugh regularly. So if they're all in their dorm rooms away from each other on a Zoom call, they're definitely way too cool to laugh. You know what I mean? So you really got to just make it fun and engaging and stuff. So one of the things I would always do, especially at those shows, was I would do a sing along at some point. It's this parody song I wrote called Death Star Station, but I would do a sing along where they would all sing along at a certain part, and inevitably we would all be at different moments because of just inevitable lags from the connection. So we would just sound like, I would always say we sound like the world's greatest drunken choir. But it's just different ways you can try to make people feel like they're together when they're not actually together,
Yes, I see that, although I don't understand the super chats, and I'm just focused on getting the information. And I've seen a few recently that focused more on the chats, and I realize that's an income stream and they're providing valuable information that I am tuning into. But we can't be together, and it's gonna I don't want to be distracted by people just typing I love you. And, so I mean, that's always a little bit weird for me, because we're not going to be together. We're going to have to curtail everything from, audiences to dance floors to sex. And I do have a friend who plays drag bingo, Linda Simpson. And she does it once every Saturday. She's got the best way of involving people, because she will cut to them and you'll actually see who is making the comment, or they'll make, the comment live with audio. And often, because it's Saturday and everyone's cooped up, they will kind of dress up. So I've never seen a better audience interaction than that one. Then she might cut to some silly, person in a costume who's doing like a Carol O'Merrill, like a presenter for a game show, just like someone in a spokesmodel who's indicating the next package on The Price is Right. I know my references are ancient, but does that ring any kind of bell?
Is still around.
Okay.
I think it's still around.
Carol O'Merrill was like before Vanna White, so that might clear it up.
Well, now it's a host now is Drew Carey, right? Like, isn't it? It's his thing, I think. Okay. Price is Right. I might be wrong. I don't know.
But don't they have like attractive women saying behind this door a car?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, I haven't watched it in years. That's one of those shows that I always just associate with illness, because whenever I would get to watch The Price is Right as a kid, it was because I was homesick from school. Okay. So I just always Price is the sore throat show. I remember that. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like you associate it with like being homesick from school.
Right.
Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. Get your news on with Ron. Don't you want to know what's going on? We're getting our news on today. You can tweet me an article at Ron Placone. We'll go through it together and